Good morning. My name is Bill Mooney, and I'm president of the Westchester County Association, and we're going to begin in a moment. And but before we begin, I want to welcome you all and thank you for being here. I'm going to introduce our chairman. These are difficult times for all of us, that's for sure, whether you be a business person, a consumer, a homeowner, whatever the case may be. And today we're launching a major campaign, a call to action campaign. And there's no better person suited to lead the charge for the Westchester County Association and to be in the trenches with than Al DelBello, our chairman. Al has guided us through a lot of this process. We were just in Albany the other day, and as I said, you want to be in the trenches with somebody, you want to be with Al DelBello, that's for sure. He knows how to navigate better than the rest of us through this whole process. So without further ado, I'll introduce the chairman of the Westchester County Association, Al DelBello.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bill. I don't know about being in the trenches. You get a feeling that you're being attacked all the time and you're just retreating. Well, we're not retreating. I think most of you are aware that the County Association during the course of last year, this year, has been extremely aggressive in trying to get our state legislators to understand the true impact of what's occurring in Albany. The high taxes, the regulations, the hidden taxes. I was just talking to Howard about tax rates, and as he says, maybe the tax rate looks moderate at 9%, but they eliminated all of your deductions and they added a series of other minor taxes like the payroll tax, so that people are actually making less today and paying more in taxes. And the impact on business, as you well know, is just horrendous. People leaving the state, businesses leaving the state, businesses leaving Westchester County, people leaving Westchester County. There's a statistic out there that is just astronomical, something like 1.8 million people left New York State in the last 8 years, is it? 8 years?
1.5 million.
1.5 million. Well, whatever it is. I mean, it's just this state lost more people to other states than any other state in the United States. All of our statistics, highest tax state, greatest debt, losing more people, losing more employees, they're all negative, and something has to be done. And so the County Association this morning is announcing its call to action, this initiative now where we're really starting a campaign. We are now reaching out to get as many people, organizations, companies, individuals involved in this effort to keep pressure on the state of New York to understand the consequences of what went on over the last number of years, last number of decades really in New York State, and why it has to be turned around and what some of those efforts are. We're not alone in this effort. We've been joined by the Long Island Association, which you know is Nassau County and Suffolk County are very much partners in this effort. Unshackle Upstate is a partner in this effort with us. Unshackle Upstate is a group, a representative business group that covers everything, all the communities from Buffalo to Troy, New York. And they've been at this for some time now, very well organized, and they're part of our effort, along with the National Federation of Independent Businesses, which is part of this effort also. So, we've established a number of principles, which are up here someplace, probably, over there, and let me just repeat some of those. As I said, the tax burden on corporations, on individuals is onerous, just so onerous that somehow the state legislature has to understand they have to stop spending. It's no longer acceptable, the culture of spending the way New York State has spent. Give you an example. Medicaid, which is such a big burden today in New York State, is a greater burden than most other states because New York State, and I think one other state in the United States, has adopted every federal option that is offered. Every federal option. There's a series of options. You don't have to opt into every program. New York has opted into every program. And then they wonder why Medicaid is costing so much in New York State. Those kind of things have to be changed. We have to become more economically competitive, obviously. We have to bring our cost of doing business down so that New York State can resurrect its image as the empire state, a state that attracts business. Our feeling right now is that when a business looks to locate somewheres in the United States, or looks to expand somewheres in the United States, no longer is New York State nor Westchester County on its radar screen. So we don't even know how many businesses we lose because they don't even come in the door anymore. There was a time when business after business used to come into the county executive's office exploring whether Westchester was a good location. It's my understanding that doesn't happen anymore. It just doesn't happen. We're off the radar screen in New York State. So we need to hold our spending, school assistance, Medicaid, health spending, and so we have to hold it flat. The legislators have to agree that they're not going to spend any more. We were up in Albany earlier this week, and we heard one legislator, you know, the schools are starting now to temper their spending, they're controlling their costs somewhat. We heard another legislator almost simultaneously say, but we're going to give them $500 million more this year, and we're going to have to borrow to do it because we don't have any money. Well, I mean, that has to stop. This state cannot borrow for operating purposes. It is just off the charts to even consider doing it, but they're considering that. They're considering that. So, I mean, somebody has to just say no, and we hope that all of us together can say no. We have statistics, both national statistics, local statistics, to prove today that public employee compensation has now outdone the private sector, both in benefits and in actual dollars. We had a legislator say that wasn't true. When we made that comment up in Albany, one of them turned around and said, that's not true. Well, that's only the National Bureau of Labor Statistics that said that. It wasn't us. But this legislator feels they're inaccurate. That just isn't right. And we need basically budget reform. In other words, the state talks about it, but they never get into it, as we see from this year's budget, the three men in the room concept. There's no openness at all. You have no idea what they're discussing. You have no idea, we have no idea what this new budget's going to look like. And I'm sure none of us will know what it's going to look like until it's adopted. That's just not the budget process the way it ought to be run. It needs to be open, it needs to be understood. People need to be able to comment and react to it while it's being formulated. We know where the governor is. He's hanging tough in there so far. But we have no idea where the two houses of the legislature are. They're negotiating, but we don't know what they're negotiating. And so we don't know what we're going to wind up with. And we have to put a lot of emphasis behind that. So rather than me going on, and I could go on for a long time about these issues, let me turn it back over to our president, who's been leading this effort and works on it every day, and Bill Mooney will take us through the speakers. Bill?
Thank you very much, Al. Before we go any further, I would like to introduce Dick French, who's Chief Executive Officer of RNN and also the head of our Advocacy Committee, and has led the charge along with Al through this entire campaign. Thank you for being here.